Alright, so a model of the skin, okay, and obviously all this portion here is the epidermis, all this portion here is the epidermis. So we have thick epidermis and thin epidermis, okay? And you can see here what they are. This is basically for a thick epidermis, the sole, and this is actually for the axillary region, and this is for the scalp, okay? And you see a few differences. Hair shaft, okay? Here is the glandular region of the hair. Here is the bulge, because here is the muscle attaching to the bulge, and then here is the bulb containing the hair matrix. Let's begin with the epidermis. And the thick epidermis, we have this dot line. See this line? Is the stratum basale. This lighter section, all this lighter section, all that, from here all the way down, that is the stratum spinosum. This dark area is the stratum granulosum. This white thing is the stratum lucidum, and all this is the stratum corneum. You guys don't need to recognize it because we asked that question, right? Remember those little bumps? We call it dermal papilla. Well, we point usually at here when we want to ask you about the dermal papilla. We point at these bumps here. Okay? Inside the dermal papilla, you can see the dermis now, from here to here, is divided into all this area here where you see all these capillaries ending. You see these capillaries here? So all this portion is the papillary layer of the dermis, including inside here. This is the dermal papilla, remember. So including inside all that portion is the papillary layer. And then from here to here, all this portion here is the reticular layer. So if I put a sticker here, then and I ask you, name the tissue at number, whatever number I have here in my label. And so your answer is dense irregular connective. If I put it here and I said name the tissue anywhere here, right, then your answer should be areolar connective tissue. If I put it here, then it's stratified squamous keratinized epithelium. From here and down is the hypodermis or subcutaneous layer. All this yellow stuff is the adipose tissue, okay, the pockets of the adipose tissue. And in between, looks like a roads in between these sections, that will be areolar connective tissue. So all this is the hypodermis. Sweat glands with the dot, right? And sweat gland. Okay. Notice that these four sweat glands, this one looks alike. Okay, that is the merocrine sweat gland. This one looks very different. That is the apocrine sweat gland. We found the apocrine sweat gland mostly in the axillary region, in the nipples, and the anogenital area. Okay, that's why this section is the axillary region, of the skin of the axillary region. And they try to show you those. Those other ones, the sweat glands, we can find it everywhere, including the axillary region and the nipple. We find it everywhere, but they are mostly concentrated in the forehead, in the palms of the hand, and in the sole of the feet. Right? But they found everywhere. All right? Those are the sweat glands. The sweat glands, the merocrine sweat glands, like these ones, are the one in charge of thermoregulation. So in other words, we sweat to release heat when we are overheating, right? So those are the ones doing that. They won't be doing much of that. They won't be much for the thermoregulation function. All right, sebaceous gland. This blue portion around this hair, and here you have it, the same thing, and this one is cut. All that is the sebaceous glands. The mode of secretion of the sebaceous gland is holocrine. The mode of secretion of these sweat glands, all of these sweat glands, apocrine or merocrine, is merocrine mode of secretion. What is the product of this gland? Sweat. What is the product of this gland? Sweat. The difference is just this is watery sweat and this is thick sweat, but it's sweat. The product of this gland? Sweat. The product of this gland?
Sebum.
Sebum. sebum, 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 sebum. Okay, sebum, not oil, sebum. Okay, and okay. Also, we see in the hair follicle, like I said, the erector pili muscle. Okay? That's the one that are going to be for the autonomic nervous system, making your hair to stick up, causing the goosebumps. And so, is that it for thermoregulation? Yes, that also for thermoregulation. If you have your hair laying flat down, right? So then it's covering you from the outside, right? And in order, but when wind comes, right, then it takes heat away from you. That is called convection mechanism. It takes heat away from you. In order to prevent losing heat from that, then it stick up there because the air has more trouble. The wind has more trouble, or breeze have more trouble to get through. So therefore, it decreases the losing heat in that way. Okay. The Meissner corpuscle, Meissner corpuscle, Meissner corpuscle, Meissner corpuscle, Meissner and Meissner. Function,
Light touch.
light touch. Pacinian corpuscle,
Deep touch.
deep touch. That's the function of that. What's the function of the sebum?
Lubrication.
Lubrication. It prevents brittle, right? And make it lubricated. So like the oil lotion that you put in your hand due to dry skin, right? Same thing. Because otherwise, if it is a dry skin, it becomes cracks, and then bacteria gets in there, and so therefore it's important to. In addition to that, sebum contains antimicrobial chemicals that helps to kill bacteria naturally. I don't see anything else different. Here you have the apocrine sweat gland. Here you have the eccrine sweat or merocrine sweat glands, sebaceous gland, sebaceous gland, sebaceous gland, Meissner, Pacinian. You see here other ones like this one here. You see like that one there. You see like those there. But never mind those because those are for other. We're not gonna be focusing on that. But you still have the layers, the basal stratum basale, stratum spinosum, stratum granulosum, stratum lucidum, and then all this stratum corneum. Dermal papilla. Oh, that's something I forgot. Dermal papilla. It doesn't show here. Oh yes, hair papilla. Okay. Dermal papilla, hair papilla.
What if we say hair matrix? Is it
There,
different?
no, they're papilla. Dermal papilla, hair papilla. The matrix is here. But I'm pointing here at the indentation. So therefore is hair papilla. Dermal papilla, hair papilla. Dermal papilla, hair papilla. Dermal papilla. Okay, don't confuse them. That's what I'm trying to say.